Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV, where we are once more with the Lemurs and Ul'dah to continue our Reaper job quest. The boss says your family, then your family. Let's put that bastard in the dirt, huh? Farnigus. Yeah, and the bastard in question, Orcus the Void Sand, wants to target us specifically. Thicker than blood. Glad to see Orcus hasn't sunk his teeth into here yet, Desiree. Don't go thinking he's given up on trying, though. He's out there, savoring you from a distance. Can't resist checking in on his prize. Just as he can't resist seeking out morsels to tide him over to this feast. The reports we've received of a man pale as death, skulking about the sands is proof of that. And then there's the matter of his blunted dagger. We don't know who sent it, but we do know what it means. It's a warning commonly used by the less savory elements in Ul'dah. A warning that the next will be delivered sharp and straight to our bellies. More fool them. They have no notion of what we faced and lived, thinking we'd soil our small clothes over empty threats. Let's hope it's nothing more than that, lass, seeing as we need to follow up on those reports sooner than later. Anyone fancy a bit of fresh air? If we catch a whiff of Orcus' foul stench, all the better. Desiree, I want you to ask around near Blackbrush Station, and I head to Stone's Throw. When we're done, meet me there and we'll share what we dug up. Not every member of a family has a means or the inclination to live in the jewel of a desert. Some settle for something with a little less luster. I recognize that self-assured stride, the mark of a woman ready to take on the world and then some. You must be the Eorzean Reaper the boss sent word about. I'm almost disappointed to tell you nothing is amiss. The soldier in me would have loved to see a Reaper in action. I once fought in the Imperial Army, or you wouldn't think it to look at me now. I served proudly under Lord Valens in my youth, until the day he ordered us to use common folk as fodder in some pointless skirmish. I refused and was sentenced to death for my candor. Needless to say, I didn't keep that appointment. Compared to that evil, toothless threats and ghosts are no bother, but the less jaded are more excitable. One lass in particular has been jumping at shadows. She claims to have seen all manner of terrors, but I suspect she'd be startled by her own reflection. Still, if you want to lend an ear to her delusions, you can find her in Lost Hope. Hello, who are you? I'm Desiree. I heard you're afraid of something? Oh, did Tusula receive my missive? She sent someone to rid us of the terrible evil waiting in the wings? Truly, she cares for us as if we really were her flesh and blood. Which is more than I can say about my own. Not once have I longed to return to the life and comfort I left behind in Garlemald. I have Tusula to thank for that. She isn't the reason I left home in the first place, of course. Had I not met my beloved, I would likely still be feasting on lemon cakes in ignorance. In ignorance of love, of freedom. I found the former in Garlemald and the latter in Eorzea, as our new life blossomed into something beautiful. Not every day has been easy, not even most days, but Tusila's watchful eye has kept us safe, and our freedom is worth any measure of hardship. Such terrible fear gripped my heart when my beloved told me of a pale man he spied on the sands. But now that the family has come to help, I can breathe a sigh of relief. I'm sure you wish to know precisely where to find that horrid creature, but I cannot help half so well as my beloved might. Seek him in the southeast, and pray put an end to this nightmare. Through deviled mists wandered of tread, tracking the scent of Crowry Other's dread. In darkest night cry for a keeper. Low by your side she walks, the Reaper. Apologies for the effusive display, friend. I'm a poet, you see, and cannot resist putting into words the flood of emotions that accompany such a striking figure as yours. Monster! The bloodlust emanating from this void is potent and powerful. Thank you, thank you, thank you, my savior, my godsend. Would that I could have aided you, but alas, a poet's pen is of little use in battle. Unless, of course, the battle involves not swords or scythes, but words. Just ask a sire of my beloved, who is even now licking the wounds dealt by the invective verse I composed after he had the gall to forbid our union. A masterwork of scathing metaphor and subtle remonstration. Alas, for other pretensions, nobles are anything but subtle in their rage. We were forced to flee, to abandon our homes with only our love for sustenance. Nevertheless, I regretted not a single moment of our life in exile. In Eorzea, I found an unexpected treasure. Freedom. Freedom of mind and freedom of heart. But I digress. Surely you did not seek me out simply to save my life and leave with a nod and a smile. Did you wish to commission a poem? Your wife told me of a pale stranger? The pale man, aye. I encountered him whilst wandering these arid wastes in search of inspiration. I felt the gaze of some terrible presence upon my back. When I turned to meet it, he was standing there, grinning like a butcher in a bullpen. He wore robes much too thick for these scorched sands, and his skin looked as if it had never been kissed by the blazing sun. Worst of all, his eyes were as two bottomless pools of blood. I feared my end had come, but then he vanished as quickly as he had appeared. Perhaps I've been reckless. Recent incidents make it clear that the cost of inspiration is higher than I'm willing to pay. I shall return to my beloved, for both my safety and hers. Thank you again, my savior. And this voidsend was probably sent by Orcus just to scare us a bit. Mayra, and one sighting. And I got attacked by another voidsend. Another one of his accursed minions. Well, I suppose we can take comfort in the fact that none of the family came to harm, yourself included. Well done. Speaking of which, what do you think of this family you've been thrust into? Speak freely. I haven't lived this long by taking offense at opinions I don't want to hear. I'm surprised you've all survived this long. It takes more than brute strength for folks to survive. None of them were fit for life under the Empire's boot, and that's good enough for me. Much as some enlightened types might tell you otherwise, people like to have a say in the life they lead. That's what separates us from those bugs over there. Born queens, workers, drones, bred into roles ingrained so deeply we won't know how to live otherwise. For the glory and prosperity of a hive. But we've got it in us to be different. Might be born into farming, soldiering, or politicking, but we can choose to walk a different path whenever the fancy should strike. It ain't in our nature to accept our lot without question. No, we have to believe in something, put our faith in it. Only then will we deign to march in step. And indeed, faith of a savage stripe is one way to get us dancing to the same tune. Others might be compelled through faith in logic or law, intangible, invisible. And indeed, faith of a savage stripe is one way to get us dancing to the same tune. Others might be compelled through faith in logic or law, intangible, invisible, yet cause enough for killing and conquering if it suits the queen. The invaders have sullied our birthright for 8 centuries. No longer. We march for Locus Aminos. With a few righteous words, his radiant Solus Scalvus whipped the hive into a frenzy. Once that fire is burning, the passion of the masses can't soon be quelled. What was once a wish for home became a holy mission to spread enlightenment. Enlightenment which would not suffer such beliefs as a beastman had. Countless scores rendered up their lives on the altar of the empire, until an entire continent was united under a single magic fist. For those who dreamed the dream of unity, a deed worthy of song, yet some awoke to see it for the tyranny it was. My grandfather Orcus included. The talents of the Reapers are passed down through bloodlines. Orcus was the best of us, the most accomplished and feared in the Order's long history. The duty of the Reapers, our role in the hive if you will, was to deliver our countrymen from corrupt and power-hungry tyrants. When Garlemald found religion and conquest, its appetite grew to be insatiable. My grandfather pondered this conundrum for many sleepless nights, and came to a decision. He would relieve Solus Galvus of his life. "20 years ago, he slipped into the deepest chambers of the Imperial Palace, silent as a shadow, until he could hear the Emperor's beating heart. Yet when Orcus returned to me, Solus was alive and well. My grandfather, on the other hand, had a skittishness to his step, and his black hair had turned a pale white. He said naught of his encounter with the Emperor, save that the most powerful man in Garlemald was no man at all. Shamed in his defeat, my grandfather sought greater power. Bit by bit he gave more of himself over to the Voidsent behind his avatar. Orcus struck when Orcus was weakest, taking his flesh and soul in one fell swoop. When he was finished, not the mold of my grandfather remained in that body. There was only Orcus. The fiend flew into a rapturous frenzy. My family were the first victims. I remember the chill of his teeth sinking into my flesh, gnawing until they reached my very essence. How I am standing before you now then? Oh, Orcus scorched in his soul that night, but it wasn't mine. Not exactly. It was my avatar that filled his belly. Seems that was all he could stomach. Some might consider that a lucky twist of fate, but I had little time to ponder my fortune. Fled soon as I was able. His radiance never looked kindly on those trying to end his life or their families. I wandered about for years until I settled here and started seeking out others like me. Others who had awoken from the Empire's dream. Lemurs is what we call the spirits of the dead in Megalian tongue. A fitting moniker if there ever was one. Waking up from a long sleep ain't unlike climbing out of a grave. I can attest to that. Son of a bleedin'. Remind me not to give such long-winded speeches when the sand is blowing my face. I'm heading back for some ale. See you at headquarters. grandfather tried to off-solo Scalvus and found himself confronted with Emetzelk. Welcome back, boss. How was the family? Shaken but unharmed aside from some tousled hair and mangled vase. Orcus left one of his minions behind as a gift, but Desiree made quick work of it. I always said she was a keeper. You have an eye for the fierce of heart. I wager she could slay Orcus all on her own, not that we'd let her take all the glory. Of course we wouldn't. We'll all be there when Orcus tries to take his prize. I don't think we'll be waiting long either. Orcus said he'd strike when Desiree was ripe with fear and hatred and despair. Seasoning he loathes to forgo. I have an inkling how he might try to draw out those emotions. Finish off a half-eaten meal besides. Right you are, Drusilla. How many nights did you mourn your lost avatar? The wellspring of your power? I must say it was quite the dish. I think not. Move so much as a finger and her head will hit the floor. Oh, that's it, Desiree. That fire. I want to see it burn. I want to see it rage. I want to see the hatred seep into the very depths of your soul. Shall I make this Drusilla's final breath? Or this one? It is so very hard to choose. I was right not to give in to my baser instincts, to allow the thoughts of your taste to simmer in my mind as you and Drusilla formed a bond. Kinship even? Born from an understanding of her inconsequential ideals, but you may better appreciate the bitter loss. But perhaps I shall wait a little while longer, to let the flavor of your hatred mature, and the tang of your malice ripen. I can make use of Drusilla yet, revel in her screams, exult in her misery. How splendid it will be! Although I am a prize piglet growing fat with loathing and succulent with terror. Patience rewards the dutiful gourmand after all. When your tantalizing flavor is fully matured, I shall return, and I shall reap my harvest. God damn it, Weizen bastard! Soulless piece of shite! Swivert son demon spawn. Aye, that's the spirit. Right, we need a plan. First things first, find out where Orcus is hiding, and the rest of the family should be able to help with that. In the meantime, we need to prepare. I know you're good, Desiree, but we can't leave a boss's life to chance. Sharpen your skills and your scythe, and sharpen them once more. The boss can do naught against Orcus without her avatar. That means you have to do the heavy lifting. Of course, I'll do what I can to afford you an advantage. You can count on that. For Drusilla. When I get my hands on him... Oh, Desiree, listen, we found out where the boss is being held. But I'm warning you, the how of it isn't pretty. An envelope arrived at headquarters this morning. I opened it and inside was... Shite. Inside was a letter, written in blood. There's no doubting whose it was. Orcus is reveling in his own cruelty. The letter said he waited for us at a dusk vigil. Gods know what he's doing to her now. I've called on every able-bodied member of her family for this one. We're heading out as soon as everybody is assembled. We're here, Herman, and more waiting outside. We're ready to repay the debt we owe Drusilla. With our lives if we must. With souls courageous, hearts of hardened steel, for leader's sake, for family's ideal, into the demon's lair they soon shall tread, to end his terror foul, his reign of dread. The boss would beam with pride to see this group of cold-blooded killers. Alright, Desiree, we're ready when you say the word. This is a job for a Reaper, and a Reaper alone. What? Now, we might not hold a candle to the likes of you, but we've got skills. You'll need someone to distract Orcus, right? Then you can move in for the kill while his back is turned. Don't tell us to stay here with our thumbs up our asses while the boss is suffering. Drusilla wouldn't want you throwing your lives away. What do you know about what she wants? Herman, listen. Maybe she's right? I know she's right, goddammit! Doesn't mean it doesn't chafe. The boss wouldn't trust just any woman with a Reaper's arts, and Desiree has proven herself worthy time and again. If you're going alone, take that with you. For the boss, no self-respecting Reaper can weep without their scythe. Now go, and make Orcus rue the day he crossed into this world. I will. Bring her back safe, Desiree, and yourself as well. Family doesn't family behind. Now, let's see. There you are, Desiree. My prize repast. Come forward. I can smell it. Your fear. Your hatred. Your tender marble soul, my masterpiece ripe for the slaughter. I'll savor every bite, strip the flesh from your bones, crack them open to sup on the marrow. How I hungered, how I thirsted, enraptured by the thought of your sweet essence trickling down my throat. Never have I suffered so in waiting, but in beholding your magnificence, I see it was worth every agonizing pang. I do not expect you to leap into my maw willingly, nor do I desire it. I want you to writhe and struggle until your dying breath. I've awaited this feast for far too long. I think I shall skip straight to the main course. The pig squirms and writhes. Stay still and let the chef's blade finish the job. I can't die without a final meal. Very good. Defiance becomes you. Though it begins to bore me. A noise, rather. 'Tis past time you bared your belly for my blade. Prey's sole purpose is to satisfy. My word, your aim is terrible. There should be nothing left of you. I should have learned to chew your food more thoroughly. Fools, the both of you. I won't die so easily. Now our feast begins. Very well. Meat is all the more delicious when it's tenderized. Give him a taste of his own vile medicine this way. Rip his soul out. You just worry about Orcus this way. I'll take care of the rest. No! No! No. This ends now, Orcus. Wait, let me. This has been a long time coming. Alright. And do it. Dripping with fear, boiled in hatred, can still smell its exquisite aroma. Just a taste. It's done. Let's get back to headquarters, Desiree. Boss? Desiree? Sorry for causing you all no end of worry. In tracking me down, you risk life and limb. And for that, I thank you, all of you. We didn't risk anything. We just sat here praying that you and Desiree walked through the door. Don't be so hard on yourself, lass. I know each and every one of you would have joined her if she hadn't talked some sense into you. We owe you our lives, boss. We owed it to you to return the favor. You're more than I deserve. I who forced them, they hold dear, into a personal vendetta, who leads family to their deaths. Arneges was no fool. He knew and accepted the risks. He placed his faith in you because he believed Orcus had to be stopped, and he was right. There'll be no more victims to mourn. He helped you to achieve that victory. It would be enough for him, and it'll be enough for me. You're right. This ain't the time for sulking. Arneges would be the first to tell me that. Now's the time to honor his sacrifice, to toast those we have lost, and those still by our side. And to thank the brave souls that led us here. That means you, Desiree, much as I'd like to take credit for Orcus' demise. It was a long and bloody road, but this marks the end of your first assignment as a raper. And what assignment it was, huh? You might not be Gallian, but you tackled your task with a singular resolve that would impress the most hardened soldier. I'm proud to call you family. You may have found the Lemurs to provide a home for wayward Gallians. But we're not so different, Gallians and Eorzeans. No great revelation that, but moments like these help to put it all in perspective. This family was a dream that gave us the strength to survive in a strange land. But the beautiful thing about dreams, if you ask me, is that they can change. They can get better. So I say that, from this day forward, the Lemurs will be united not by origin, but by purpose. Brothers and sisters bound by shared convictions. I don't think anyone will object to that, boss. The Lemurs are ready to welcome people of all stripes. Starting with you, Desiree. Though it was all but official already, huh? Right. Aye, here's to the birth of a new family, sister. What a day it's been, eh? Hope it'll be a while yet before I've occasion to yammer on that much again. Too much talking's liable to put me in a sentimental mood, or worse, make me dewy-eyed. So let's leave it at that, huh? You ever get weary from the weight of the world on your shoulders? Know that our door will always be open. And if you need an ear to bend, a shoulder to weep on, or a stiff bottle to jump inside, I'll be right here, sister. And Shroud learned. Manus exit paterni. It's always a pleasure to see you work through these doors, Desiree. I know it's not very homely in here, but feel free to kick your feet up wheresoever you can. Auf Herr Lemurs. We're doing as well as can be expected, all things considered. Arnigus left some shoes that are proving hard to fill, and we found ourselves with less skill at hand than we're accustomed to. Hermin is doing all she can, bless her heart. As much as he claims to hate using her at, she's showing a sharp mind for trade, and thanks to her, our civilian business is getting back on track. Arnigus' wife is making do, you'll be glad to hear. She's running her own stall and doing a fine job at it by all accounts. I just hope that if anyone in the family needs my help, I'll be around to give them what they need. I've heard tell of what happened in Garlemald. Just because the Empire is gone doesn't mean that everyone who's fled its clutches has a burning desire to return home. I take it the Lemurs will be in Ulda for some time yet. Good. But that's the end of a Reaper quest line. And the end of this episode, I would say. Personally, I think the new ones, where we have only 10 levels of job quests, a bit too short. But that's my opinion, and they have a role quest, right? But it's just not the same thing. Anyway, let's end it here, and until next time, I'm Mace, and don't get lost.